TG Geeks, episode 132, August 28th, 2017. Steampunk was born where? Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the Two Gay Geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery. Sci-fi, comics, film, horror, genre, you name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane, and we're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in Phoenix, Arizona, but we're probably in Alaska still.
And I'm Ben Raggington, also coming to you from Alaska, or are we in Seattle? I don't know. If it's Tuesday, it must be Belgium, Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah. Well, as we've said on the previous couple of episodes, we're going to have a bit of a truncated episode since we're on vacation, and we're just trying to get the interview and the follow-up items, as well as our what is it? Birthdays. There we go.
Birthdays.
Birthdays. Oh, the birthdays. When we get back, we're going to have a Feedback-a-Palooza episode, and we're going to do that probably the next week. And we have an interesting interview for you this time.
Very unusual interview.
Unusual.
This, yes, terribly interesting.
This was...
Let's set this up.
This was another fallout, or I don't want to say fallout. That's not a good term. But
Coincidence?
A coincidence of San Diego Comic-Con again. We happened to be sitting in the Pro Lounge, which was kind of a perk of having a professional badge, because we were on a panel. And the only place to sit was this one table, and we got some lemonade, and we sat there, and there were a couple of people sitting there, and I just started chatting with them, and I said, what are you here doing, and yada, yada, yada. And it turns out they were pitching a animated series, right. I think it was, and about Dr. Evermor. And so we talked to Taya and Perry there, and Taya is the one that's, Perry's in San Diego, and Taya's up in Wisconsin. And it turns out this guy built this big thing. Out of scrap. Yeah. And so we actually got an interview with him. He's an elderly gentleman and not in really good health. And
he's like pushing 90 if he isn't already.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, whenever they called, she put him on the line, and he just kind of launched in. So there's really not an introduction to this interview.
No,
so
it hits the ground running.
It hits the ground running. So we're just going to kind of start playing the interview and
try and catch up with it.
Yeah, and the interesting thing was that he refers to a book, and I can't remember what it was now.
I don't recall. But you'll hear the name in the interview.
They called him the Godfather of Steampunk. So it's really kind of fascinating. And you'll see, if you look at the episode article that we have, you'll see a couple of things. Or if you look up Forevertron on Wikipedia, or just go to Google and type in Forevertron, and there's about 6 or 7 different articles, and you can get a good look at some of those things. We'll have a couple of those in the episode article. So we're going to launch into the interview right now.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, good morning, or good afternoon. How are you?
Yeah, that's good. Well, it all depends on that time frame.
Yeah.
We just got past noon, you know what I'm saying? So what are you boys doing out there?
Well, we're just
talking to you,
sitting here talking to you, and we found out that you have a fascinating story that we would like to talk about.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. You know, the funny part about things in life, you maybe move the mountain, and then in another, well, so to speak, life, because I was in the dismantling business where we took, big steel structures down, and that don't amount to a hell of beans. But maybe punched out 3,000-4,000 tons of that kind of stuff for scrap and usable. And now this RC Poo thing come along and one said life, and now all of a sudden there's a lot of interest in that doggone arty stuff, So
a lot
I don't know too much about that.
Well, a lot of what you've created, I mean, I've seen some of the photos. A lot of it is actually quite beautiful. Have you ever had any kind of have you ever had shown any inclination towards art in general, or in sculpture or anything like that?
The funny part about it is, I went down. I was down there and did a whole bunch of stuff for the house, the rock, and then he said, the trouble with you, you don't know it, but you're a great artist. So that was only what the heck? How do you know which direction is? I never thought about this stuff, but apparently I've been doing it all along, and there it is.
Very interesting. So you said that your background was in dismantling and just tearing things apart. And when did you discover that you could put things back together in a cohesive way that looked good? Or was that part of just learning the trade?
No. Well, no. None of this. You usually fall into things, and the thing about it is when you're dismantling stuff, you're also looking at it, and in my case, I got a disease. Everything seems to be good, and subsequently, you see other things within whatever it is, and then you punch it out, and away you go. And the thing about it, the other thing too, I've got another part of my disease is I don't believe in shaping or forming anything. I'm saying to you, as a man, I wouldn't want to cut your arm off, but you want to, I'll take you the way you are. I use a lot of this metal as it is, and no cutting or shaping. So that's really kind of some of my laws of doing stuff, That's the kind of thinking it is anyway.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
And that by not having to do that, you can pick up speed and get something done, And we probably got 400 or 500 tons of stuff done, But I just love doing it,
Yeah. So you sound a lot like my grandfather. He was a former age. He died 40 years ago, but he was of that mentality of you save everything and you make it work. You use it. He made a whole building out of scrap metal from Boeing and McDonnell Douglas, and it was amazing. He was a sheet metal artist or a sheet metal worker, so that was his trade. And it sounds like you just kind of do the same thing and pick stuff up and do with what you can.
Yeah. Well, another thing, your grandfather had a lot of wisdom, and he punched that most of that stuff was aluminum,
Right.
And that's got that melting point. I don't fool any aluminum because I'm mostly into steel and cast iron, brass and copper and stuff like that,
Right.
So, man, I sure love what I'm doing in it, and it's kind of worked out good. You kind of following what's the matter with us guys, even your grandfather? What kind of a passionate nut are you that you got to want to do that,
Yep, exactly.
You see good things into that material, and Yeah, you can bean it and take it over and liquidate it and get a few quarters out of it. What the heck do you want to pee around with something like that? Excuse me. But, I mean, I'm more of a saver.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a good stock of stuff, and I got this nice young lady here with Toya, and by golly, you know, she says, well, I've taken a class for doing welding. I said, I don't want to weld, you know, and, well, no. And so she took a class for welding, and he took other classes so she can do all these other kind of high-powered welds. And I said, you used to stick with a stick welder, and that's all you need is a stick. No, you can do all the other stuff, too.
Exactly.
But, yeah, and boy, she's darn good for, I can't now lay a beat down as good as she can, you know, but I just glue them together and get the job done.
Yeah.
I had a good time doing it.
Well, that's interesting, and you've really created something that is really absolutely fascinating. So I guess the next question would be, when you started this sculpture,
Mm-hmm.
or you started marrying this stuff together.
Yeah. How long ago did you actually start putting all of this phenomenal steelwork together to create art?
Well, probably. I'm over 8 or 9 now, but I would say I got it. It's just in it when I was about 30 years old, I guess. But then I kind of moved into it real strongly, a little bit before I was 40 years old. So, and I don't know. I guess I'm some kind of age, but I still got all kinds of stuff laid out, and I've got all the drawings. I never did any drawing or anything to do anything. I just looked at the pile of iron or whatever it is, and zoom zang. I always think to myself, you don't know what it's going to look like anyway, and to do a drawing is a waste of time.
Exactly.
Because you know what I'm saying on that. You just got to power on that Girl Scout and take care of that thing.
Yeah.
Now,
and get it out.
Now,
you just got to do it.
I would have imagined that when you started doing this, I mean, no one's done anything like what you're doing or what you have done. I have to wonder, what was everybody's reaction to this undertaking of yours? I mean, what were people saying to you? What were people saying about you?
When you first started?
Yeah, when you first started this.
Excuse me, I'll tell you something wacky. I had these two gentlemen that came from Germany, and they were out there, and they were doing an interview on me, and they did a lot of filming, and then they, of course, took it back, and other people reported to me, and we seen you, some kind of European station where they ran that thing. Okay, but I want to say something. They said something to me that got me kind of shook up. They says, you know that in our country, we could never do anything like this. And I says, why is that? Well, they would have to melt everything down for make a tank out of us.
Oh my gosh.
Good grief.
Well, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It goes in the scrap and that's it. So there was not any. They don't allow that kind of. Wouldn't probably allow it. And that one big sculpture probably weighs 250, 300 tons, and it's got a lot of magic to it, and it's got very historic things in it, and things that I pulled from my industrial wrecking job, and then I was able to use stuff and move it around so it was blended in there, so it looks like that's the way it was.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Connecting up all these things to make them look like they actually would work.
Uh-huh.
And I had some gentleman from the University of Wisconsin come out there when I was first doing it, and he volunteered to because he's in electrical engineering, that he would could help on the wiring it up. I thought to myself, oh my God, what's going on here? I must have really fooled him. You know, this is a fantasy. Yeah, we can string wires around and make it look like it's have them drooping down or something, so that Girl Scout looks like it would work. And I haven't done that yet, but to actually wire it up so that it would run, I think we'd want to pass on that deal. You understand what I mean?
Yeah. Well, at least you can light it up and make it look good.
It would look pretty. Something very attractive at night.
Yeah, well, you could run fiber optics around on it for shapes and forms, and then you could probably tie that into some kind of a mysterious music, and then have it pulsating with the music or something like that. You could do things like that, but I'd like to leave that for somebody else's dream.
Yeah, makes sense.
To do something like that.
So
I don't want to get into jerking wires and stuff like that.
Now, you had mentioned how you kind of envisioned how some of these pieces should be together, because you had an organic vision for the finished product. Some of this stuff is huge, and you gave a weight. I mean, hundreds of tons. How did you move some of this stuff?
Oh, we have cranes, but there was one crane I used about a 20-ton Groves hydraulic crane. Well, you can take and throw a choker on something, pick it up, and then hoist it in place. Now, most of the stuff, I would I had the big piece I'm working on there, but I got to have a big concrete slab, and so that I would build it in modulars. Now, you can take that Girl Scout apart, because I got it all set up with pins and bushings. And so if you know the magic about it, you can, because it's modular, you can pull it apart and load it on semis and pack it down to Mississippi if you wanted to, okay?
Right.
So I thought about that, because the piece weighs probably may weigh over 300 tons. So that one, we got the other stuff too, So.
Right. So there seems to be a fascinating story behind this piece that you've called the Forevertron. So how did that start? Did you come up? Did you discover the use of the Forevertron in building it, or did it come first? Or tell us about that whole story about what Dr. Evermor and the Forevertron. So give us some insight into that. How did that start?
Well, to begin with, I had got some semi trailers, they're 50 foot long by about 12 feet, and those trailers, I got 3 of them, and so I just decided to back them in there so that back them in there and use them as the base. You follow me?
Uh-huh.
So then I just went from there and picked up on. I leave the autoclave on one end. I had a 32,000-pound stainless steel autoclave that was used into the decontamination program for the astronauts when they come back from the moon, to make sure that didn't have any microorganisms on them, so they
Wow.
passed through that one, you know. And so I had that on there, and so then I just went and put all this other stuff on there, and it's all going to thing for me. It kind of builds itself, and so that you don't have any real pre-plans, but that's the way it goes. The component parts fall on you at the right time, and you just say, well, that will work there. There's a big hole over here. We could blend that to this other piece, and then it looks like it's actually something you could start up and run, you know. So because I tore all that other stuff down, I suppose that you really don't know what you're doing, but you're pulling from the realism of taking you know, plants and stuff apart so you can make a fantasy out of it. See? That's how it happens.
Ah. Okay.
So tell us the story of Dr.
Evermor, yes.
Yeah, and what is the Forevertron used for, and what is its history, or what is it supposed to do?
Yeah, tell us the story of that.
Oh, well, what it was supposed to do, and maybe the best thing that one ever does is usually when you're under depression. Yeah, you know, and you're using the building of something as a little internal therapy. So I built a thing with all this stuff in there, and then I put that egg on the top of it, where it's supposed to perpetuate yourself back into the heavens on a magnetic lightning force beam inside a glass ball, inside a copper egg, back to heaven. So that was the kind of the forefront. Well, it may work and it may not. So there you are. Let's say that it would work. And anyway, you could think that way.
Right. So when you were building this, did that story about Dr. Evermor and what it could do, is that what you decided to?
Well, yeah, you know, I told just a part of it, and I could get kind of carried away with that story. But I'll tell you, I was some people came and they wanted to know, ask a question as you did, and so I rambled on about that story, and then there was a very religious person standing over listening to all that, and he says, you know, the way that sounds, you really believe that'll take you back into the heavens on a magnetic lightning force beam. You know, you really give me the old eagle eye. So I said, well, maybe it would work. I don't know. We're looking for different beams and different energy forces that we're all challenged in using it in things. And I'm interested in things in other dimensions, of course. And
well, of course.
We're working on things right now, extraterrestrial and intergalactic devices, and so this will blend in real good for what I'm working on today. You understand me?
Yeah, absolutely. So when the Forevertron looks very, and I'm going to use a modern term here, it looks very steampunk. And what was, you were going for something that is in the 1800s?
Yeah, it has a very Victorian look to it.
Well, I was you gentlemen, they hit it right on the head. I was thinking in about 1890, this time frame of design. Now you brought something else up that I couldn't believe that, but you see those people came up and were hanging around, and some of them introduced themselves, and some of them didn't. And some of them talked to me like you are. And all of a sudden, this steampunk thing came up, and unbeknownst to me, and somebody says, you know, we got one of those books, steampunk, and in the book it says you're the Godfather to them.
Wow!
How about that?
Well, that's what they have in their book, you know, one paragraph down there, and they give me credit for being the Godfather for steampunk. So,
no kidding.
That could be.
Yeah. Well,
I guess it makes sense. I mean, it makes sense considering how long you've been doing this kind of artwork. I could see how that maybe inspired a whole subgenre of fiction and culture into embracing this Victorian era aesthetic.
You're 100% right on that, and well, I don't know many of those people. They could, you know, but I thought that was very nice of them to do that. But that is the truth, and like I say, you know, I started it. Well, now it'd be 40 years ago, so just about 50 years ago. In fact, time slips by, but I think it was about 40 or something like that when I started it, you know.
Yeah. So
I lose track of time, and I'm not too good on time. You just when you're working on stuff, you just go until you drop over, and I could work outside there, and that was kind of good too, because I didn't use any Laramie welders. I used all stick welders on that Girl Scout, and then that blew the smoke away from you, and the whatever the bad stuff was from welding was blown away. So that, and the stick welders, the wire feed welders, I didn't use any wire feed welding on anything. Only if I had to make parts. Well, then I did them on that concrete, and then or inside the studio. And then where that part, and then dragged it outside, and then we poked the Girl Scout on it. You know, that's all.
Yeah,
it's as simple as it is.
So let me ask you this question: did you ever read Jules Verne or H.G. Wells? Was that an inspiration for this structure and the Dr. Evermor story and mythos?
No, you know, I never. I can't really say that I did, because other people have told me about them. But I am a passenger. What is it? I don't particularly like Thomas Edison. He's a leaker. But who's the guy I like?
Tesla?
Nikolai Tesla.
Tesla,
yeah,
yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
He was the man.
Yeah, so, I mean, he was kind of an inspiration for me. So I can remember somebody saying to me, and says, you know, you had you had somebody working with you, didn't you? I said, what do you mean? Well, you must have had Nikolai Tesla right next to you. So,
exactly.
I mean, that was a nice compliment there, I thought, anyway.
Well, of course you did, because stick welders
sure,
are DC.
Yeah.
Stick welders are DC welders.
Yeah, that's true.
Know?
Yeah,
it's
well,
DC current.
I mean, that is true. I was certainly guided by his thought pattern anyway, and he would be thinking, and he'd be real happy if he could see what was done and associated with the thought pattern of what happened, you know. So Tesla was not anybody but other than true in stuff, and he beat Edison. I mean, well, he first started to work for Edison, and then got away from him, and that was the best thing in the world. He got away from him because he was fooling with that DC power, and where, Edison was, and then Tesla was AC, of course, and he's actually credited with bringing AC power to all of us. And I think one of the first things that he worked on was that powerhouse at Niagara Falls, and so he proved that out, and it's a good thing that he had a little bit of help from Westinghouse, and so that's what helped him. But he was, as I am, I'm not the best person for money management at all, because I just do things, and I work with whatever I got, and maybe have a few quarters, and can hire somebody to assist me on something or other, and that's how I got that thing done anyway.
Yeah. So are you still actively doing anything with the structure, or are you? Is anybody doing anything with the structure? Are you directing anybody to fix other pieces or do some more work on it currently?
Well, I understand that. See, I put a lot of lights on a Girl Scout, and I use the principle of welding a piece of pipe, let's say like a 3 or 4 inch or whatever size, and then I built these damn spotlights, and I welded a size smaller pipe on that, where all we had to do was take the lights off and stick in them sleeves. Well, sometimes I think at 1 or 2 of them that I had made a mistake. I didn't cut a drain hole in the bottom or on the side so the water would drain out. Subsequently, when we have these winters up here, the water went in and caught in the number 1 pipe, and that then froze a couple times, and then it just pushed the smaller pipe, which I'm saying was probably 2.5 inch, just pushed that right out of the socket, and bango, there's 2 of those lights that are down right now. We got to re-weld the saddle that they set in, and then we'll just pick them and put them back in there with a crane. So everything is in pretty good shape, and it would take, when I was thinking about it, that I got to have it so that if I'm on the Gulf Coast or something with that thing, that it's got to take at least 150, 160 mile an hour wind. So the copper egg is all put together with rivets. So you got a little flexibility in the rivets, and so I was thinking about all like wind shear stuff on that stuff that's up in the air, and that's the way it was done, and it'll stand the test of time, and it's a wonderful representation of things. I think it's probably the finest representation of something of America. And in fact, I was going to I get the eagle eye and glare from my daughter. Send a picture of it to those Trump kids, you know. Yeah, to say if things get bad, but Trump was always barking about all the things that we had done in America, and which is true. And we have from the Northeast, all those Englishmen out there in the Massachusetts and stuff. They were came up with real good ideas. They come up with guns and stuff like that. Man, when we think about America, we are the inventive and the ones that started out, and over 2,000 different kinds of cars were built in America, and we as Americans have done a lot of pretty spectacular stuff. Well, this is another oddball thing that they can add to the collection.
There you go.
Yeah, it's all about American ingenuity. So now
That's right.
You have I guess it's a park where all of these structures are actually located.
Yeah. I happened to originally bought the half of this land, and then I built this doggone thing. So, but my partner wanted to get the part of the land back because his wife wanted to build a building on it. So I said, okay. So I give him the title back. So I think that all that stuff should be moved someplace, and that's what Playa is going to do. She'll move it someplace, and I just hope that she can find the right spot, because basically things are best when they're left right where they're at, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, they're supposed to be there.
But,
yeah.
They're meant to be there.
Yeah. So, if you can, you'd have to talk to Playa, maybe get a couple pictures or something, and we'll certainly do anything to help you in any thought patterns. And I'm thankful to talk to you. I still can talk, even though I'm just a little over being at that early age unit, you know. So I may not be able to say too much, but I will talk to you, okay?
Okay, well, thank you.
We appreciate
you so
it a great
much.
deal.
And we'll talk to Taya now for just a few minutes. Thank you so much for talking about this. This was
thank you. It was
fascinating.
Very interesting.
It was wonderful.
Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, thank you for your interest. Here, I'll put her back on.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. That was a fascinating story. So tell us, we'll get some information from you too. How's that? We'll talk to you. And you're you appear to be running the website and all of that kind of stuff. And tell us more about the park. There was where the park is located and when it's available. And
Sure. So yes, I do help out with just about everything that I can for them. So whether it be the website, welding up small sculptures, handling emails, anything that they need assistance on, I try my best to help them. Right now, the art park is open every day except for Tuesdays and Wednesdays. That corresponds with Delaney Surplus. That's their hours as well. They're closed on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And so we're open generally, I believe, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. During the week, and on weekends, like Saturday, it's from, I think Lady Eleanor has it open from 9 to 5, and on Sundays, it's from noon until 5. And the art park is located in the town of Sumter, which is just between Sauk City and Baraboo. Really, it's about, I want to say, 35 minutes west of Madison. More people are familiar with where Madison is located, so it's about 38 minutes from Madison.
Okay.
And there's no charge to get in. It's just Lady Eleanor does accept contributions or donations, but it's free for people to come in and just do a walkabout or drive their car through and do a little. For those folks that are handicapped and stuff, sometimes it's easier if they just take a ride through the park and view it that way too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. So tell us, we were trying to get the story of Dr. Evermor and how that all came about, and mm-hmm. I mean, if you want to share some little tidbits that he wasn't able to share at that would be great. Or do we just kind of point people to the website, or what do you want to share with us about that?
Sure. Well, that'd be great if you want to point people to our website. let's see here. As far as Dr. Evermor, I mean, he's two characters. He's Tom Every, that's his real name, and Dr. Evermor is his character.
Exactly.
And it's interesting because I feel like that he actually is two people at times, and I really look forward to, when I come to see him, if he's in his Dr. Evermor character, because he's so charming and fun to chat with. And so he really, the changes that I noticed as his daughter growing up was probably in my high school age time is when he started to evolve from being Dr. Evermor from Tom Every into Dr. Evermor, and then the Forevertron was created, and it was about 1983 when he started building that. And my brother Thayer, who is about 4 years older than me, he had graduated high school, and he was a big help with the construction of that as well.
Super. And the stories, I know that, do you want to share with what you and Perry are working on, or is that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Perry
so share us
Covington. Yeah. So Perry Covington and Eric Figi, I hope I'm saying Eric's last name right. It's Figi. He and Perry, they're both working on a pilot TV series. It's a science fiction serialized drama, and it's absolutely fabulous. So what they're doing is they're bringing all of Dr. Evermor's creatures and the Forevertron to life in this TV series, and it's going to be where they'll be able to travel with the Forevertron into multi-dimensions and multi-universes. So they've created all these different universes that they'll have all of these different dramas to be able to go through and solve problems and whatever wars might be going on. It's a really exciting story. They're the best people to talk to about all the details.
Right.
Because my job mostly is I bring them the history of the art pieces. I have another writer here in the Middleton area that has done a fabulous job documenting the history behind all of the sculptures that my dad has built, because each one has its own story to tell, and we're going to try to see if we can have those transfer over into the TV show as well. And then Perry and Eric are bringing their own storylines with that as well. So it's really exciting. It's going to be a lot of high-tech stuff in it. But I probably should just leave it up to you talking with Perry and Eric about the real details of that, because that's their passion, and what they know way more about the details.
Sure. I just wanted to get from you, because we had met you at San Diego Comic-Con, and that's kind of how this interview wound up. And it was kind of a fascinating. They were pitching that at San Diego Comic-Con, so that, and we just happened to meet. So this was really kind of a serendipitous thing. That he is the godfather of steampunk, and it's
sure.
Yeah. So where can we find more about Dr. Evermor for those that are listening? We know how to find you, but tell our listeners where can they find information about Dr. Evermor?
Right. Is there any kind of social media presence of anybody or anything on the internet if people want to know more?
Yes, we do have actually two sites on Facebook. One is called the Dr. Evermor Group, and that's dr.evermor, which is EVERMOR group. And then we also have a fan page called The World of Dr. Evermor. So if people want to be in a group, or if they just want to be a part of the fan page and kind of see what's going on, those are the two sites that we post directly to. And I know that Perry and Eric have also created another site that's for the TV pilot that we're working on, which is called Evermor. So it's just EVERMOR. And so those are great sites. We have a Twitter site, but it's really just under me, and we don't have a lot of activity going on with that right now, but we just mostly focus on the Facebook social media. We do have a website, which is worldofdrevermore.com. And you can reach us directly through the website or those two Facebook sites.
Oh, that's absolutely fascinating. Well, thank you, Taya, for setting this up and talking with us, and then letting us talk to Dr. Evermor. And we really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much. Oh, it's such an honor, and we really appreciate your time, and it was just such a pleasure meeting you. I feel like it was a gift that we had the chance to meet you at the Comic-Con.
Absolutely.
It was certainly very, as we've heard in Mary Poppins, it was fortuitous.
Yes.
Thank you. I agree. It's been great. So
Yep.
I'm looking forward to hearing the podcast, and if there's anything else that you need from us, just feel free to give us a call back.
We will do that.
I'm Joe Ahern, writer and director of the new film B&B, and you're listening to the Two Gay Geeks.
That is just a fascinating interview. He just was really...
I knew we walked into that thinking, I don't know what we're going to have.
We have no clue
idea
what we're going to do.
But he was so incredibly interesting.
Yeah, it was really fascinating.
Yes.
If we get up to Wisconsin, we'll have to go see
Oh, we
that
have to
sometime.
check it
Yeah.
out.
So we got a few selected birthdays for August 28th through September 3rd, 2017. August 28th, Armie Hammer.
Who is now my favorite Kuryakin
Yes.
from Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Absolutely. And Amanda Tapping and Jack Kirby, celebrated comic book artist.
That's right. This is
His
birthday
100th
time.
birthday. 100. August 29th, Sir Richard Attenborough and Ingrid Bergman. August 30th, Jeffrey Bean, Fred McMurray, and Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley. And
The creator
yes.
of Frankenstein, and that poor woman in her grave is still apologizing for depicting scientists as just mad.
Yeah, but her Percy Bysshe Shelley was his birthday was a week
Yes,
or so
it was.
ago. Yeah, so interesting. August 31st, Ramon Vinay. He's a famed opera singer of the 50s and early 60s. James Coburn, Zach Ward, who was the Christmas Story. He was the bad kid.
Him. Oh, I know. Okay, yeah,
shoot.
yeah. The guy with the yellow eyes.
Yeah, and he actually followed us on Twitter. It was really fascinating.
That's right. He did. I
Yeah.
forgot about that. That's so cool.
Yeah, also on August 31st, Itzhak Perlman, who I had the opportunity to meet when I was 13 years old. It was really fascinating. He was really a very nice man. Also on August 31st, a friend of the show, Russ Emanuel. September 1st, Lily Tomlin and Yvonne DiCarlo. Isn't that Frank's
Yes.
aunt?
Yes. It's yes. How did you know?
How did I know?
Oddly enough, though, that she would on the birthday list follow Lily Tomlin.
Yes. Yeah.
Did anybody catch that? Do you see what I just did?
Uh-huh. Also on September 1st, Engelbert Humperdinck.
Humperdinck.
The composer of Hansel und Gretel.
Not the singer. Humperdinck.
Humperdinck in 1854. September 2nd, Guy Laliberté, who is the
creative visionary for Cirque du Soleil.
Yes, and Krista McAuliffe. September 3rd, Kitty Carlisle Hart.
Oh my word. Every time I see that name, I think of that one episode
What's My Line?
of What's My Line where she just takes the food out of her mouth when she realized what she was eating.
Yes.
This dignified, this woman is the epitome of class, and here she's just like, she couldn't pull and spit the food out fast enough when she heard what it was.
I don't remember
what it was, but it was disgusting.
Also on September 3rd, Charlie Sheen and good friend of the show and our friend, Mr. Mark Biaggi, who we will feature here just shortly as doing Obi-Wan. He's our Obi-Wan. So that's it for the birthdays this time.
Technorama, the podcast for geeks, because geeks are better than cool. You don't hear someone say, "Get away from me, you cool person." Who's gonna have their 65-inch home theater system installed by the Cool Squad? Not me, that's for sure. How much cool cred do you have? Not enough to care about. Think you'll find any canned unicorn meat at thinkcool.com? It's just a part domain name. They don't even have roadkill in a paper cup. That's why you need to start listening to Technorama, because that's what geeks do. Go to chuckchat.com and listen to Technorama before you turn cool.
Go give a listen to our friends Chuck and Craig over at Technorama. And now I'm not even going to go through it. We'll just do that.
Thank you.
We'll just scratch it all. We'll scratch the feedback and we'll scratch the next time, except we're going to play the bumper here in a moment. We do want to say about our feedback that you can leave feedback for us at tggeeks.com or on our Facebook page, TG Squared Studios.
And you can leave it in audio form, too.
Yeah, and also you can call our listener line at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. And remember, please play nice.
You don't need to hear their identification. They're the Two Gay Geeks. They can go about their business. Move along.
And
help me, Mark Biaggi. You're my only hope.
Yes, exactly. And we want to do our follow-up items. Thank you to whoever nominated us for the Parsec Award. We should be hearing something.
By the time this episode comes out, maybe we already know.
Yeah, you never know. Check out our calendar on the website. There's, if you got a birthday event or con or film festival, send us a note. We'll be glad to put it on there. Come see us and say hi at Horrible Imaginings Film Festival in San Diego on Saturday, September 9th, or at OperaCon by Arizona Opera. We're 21st at the Opera offices in Phoenix, and Phoenix Comic-Con Fan Fest, November 11th and 12th. As everybody has probably figured out by now, we're huge creators.
Huge creators of independent supporters.
Supporters, yeah, there we go.
So be an athletic supporter.
There we go. We're huge supporters of independent creators. And whether it's filmmakers, comic book artists, writers, or others, a lot of talent out there don't get the fame and fortune. If you see a crowdfunding campaign, please consider supporting them. You can get involved for sometimes as little as $1.
Mm-hmm.
So support independent creators. Phoenix Comic-Con Fan Fest returns to Phoenix on November 11th and 12th. More information to come. They haven't released any yet because they're doing Thrill Halloween right now. And then they have announced next year's Phoenix Comic-Con is May 24th through 27th, 2018. Arizona Opera is going to be doing OperaCon on October 21st before the performance of Hercules versus the Vampires. There's still information to come on that. Check out Arizona Opera at azopera.org.
Special shout out to the Doctor Who Fancast Guide for publishing our stories. It is put out by Doctor Who Talking Who. They are on Twitter. And to follow them and also find the Fancast Guide for yourself, go to Twitter and look for @TalkingWho. Also, our stories frequently pop up in the Arkle Times Post-Dispatch News. That is published by Human Arkle, also known as our good friend Brian Weber. If you want to find him on Twitter or his Post-Dispatch News, just go to Human Ankle? Arkle, Human Arkle. Somebody's being a smart aleck with the script.
That was just for you, Brian.
And also, check out his incorrect Star Trek Voyager quotes on Tumblr, but just don't do it at work because you want to keep your job.
We want to give a shout out to The Lookie Show on Twitter. They give us a lot of love and post some interesting things there. And also they have a YouTube channel, Lookie Show, where they do a quite unique movie reviews and TV reviews. So check it out, Lookie Show on YouTube.
Special shout out to the Facebook group The Gay Geek for allowing us to post our episodes on their page. Well, of course, we're going to post it there. Gay Geek, Two Gay Geeks. Let's do the math. Anyway, you can find it by going to facebook.com/group/The Gay Geek. And as always, our most heartfelt thanks to moderator Jeremiah Reeves for allowing us to share our content there.
Thank you, Jeremiah. We want to remind you to occasionally click on our Amazon ads. It doesn't cost anything. to do that. And if you do choose to buy something, you please use one of our search ads. We've got widgets on the side and search ads at the end of each article. And lastly, please rate us on iTunes and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we can also be found on Spreaker and now iHeartRadio.
Woohoo!
So check us out there, and SoundCloud and a couple of other places. So we're trying to
really widen the net.
Really widen the net. What's up next time?
Oh, God.
I don't have any idea.
No, lots of feedback.
Lots of feedback. Yeah, we might have
but
feedback-a-palooza.
Aside from that, not a clue at this stage of the game.
Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for the Webcast episode. We're going to have several, we might have a couple of links to World of Evermore and some other things.
Just a few things there. That's about it. I mean, there won't be too many links like you might see in most of our show notes.
Yep. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or tggeeks.com or leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS, 469-844-3357. I am Keith Lane from TG Squared Studios. Thanks for listening. I bid you peace.
Cheers.